morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, RGV, Sunday morning online spiritual experience. We are delighted that you have joined us for this time of mindful contemplation, affirmations, prayer, meditation, and music. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We offer a unique approach to spirituality. We are love-based and all-inclusive. We embrace an open heart and an open mind. We are spiritual, not religious. As an inter-spiritual community and divine love and expression, we draw from and honor all paths to spirit. We envision a spiritually transformed, peaceful world. Though we have no dogma, we do have 5 principles that formulate our philosophy. Our foundational belief is all is one. Our fundamental practice is living in the present moment. Once again, welcome to Unity RGV. Today's announcements are simply that we are continuing on our online service until, the surge kind of settles down a little bit, which it really hasn't yet. The good news on the building, the hall, is that the insurance adjusters have come by and started to look at it. So the process of trying to see what we can do and then kind of work on it is starting as well. For now, we're going to continue online. The board will decide when they want to do something different. So, I want to invite you to take a deep centering breath, and let's begin by lighting our unity candle. I invite you to listen to these words this morning about the power of words. My positive thoughts and words create my world. I create my life through the prayer, through the power of my thoughts and my words. My positive thoughts bless my life with peace, prosperity, and perfect health. I affirm I am part of God's abundant universe. All my needs are met. If I feel ill, I affirm I am made in the image and likeness of God. I am whole. I am so grateful to keep positive thoughts in my mind and positive words in my expression. And so it is.
In this world,
in this world,
in this world,
I am the light,
I am the light,
I am the light,
in this world,
in this world,
in this world,
in this world.
this is the place,
This is the place,
this is time,
this is the time.
let it shine,
Let it shine,
let it shine,
let it shine.
I see the joy,
I see the joy,
I see the joy,
I see the joy
in this world,
in this world,
in this world,
in this world.
I see the joy,
I see the joy,
I see the joy,
I see the joy
in this world,
in this world,
in this world,
in this world.
this is the place,
This is the place,
this is the time,
this is the time.
let it shine,
Let it shine,
let it shine.
let it shine.
I'm living love every day,
I'm living love every day.
I'm living love every day,
I'm living love every day.
I'm living love every day,
I'm living love every day.
spreading peace along the way,
And in peace along the way.
right time,
Right place,
right place,
right place.
living love
Living love
every day.
every day.
I am the light,
I am the light,
I am the light,
I am the light
in this world,
in this world,
this world,
in this
I
world.
am the light,
I am the light,
I am the light,
I am the light
in this world,
in this world,
this world,
in this
this
world.
is the place,
This is the place,
this is the time,
this is the time.
let it shine,
Let it shine,
let it shine,
let it shine.
let it shine.
Yeah.
Join me this morning in Unity's statement of being, which is shared throughout the entire planet. In Unity centers, there is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
In this house of love, we come together, one with spirit in our hearts. In this house of love, we are connected, we are perfected in God's light, and we shine, yes we shine, as bright as the stars up above, and we shine, yes we shine, shine in this house of love, in this house of love, we are family, brothers and sisters in this world. In this house of love, we seek the wisdom that tells us the truth, and we're assured, and we shine, yes we shine, as bright as the stars up above, and we shine, yes we shine, we shine in this house of love.
Unity teaches that man is endowed with 12 spiritual powers or faculties or abilities that comprise and reflect our divine nature. They are love, imagination, power, judgment, understanding, zeal, elimination, faith, life, order, will, and strength. Today's power is zeal, sometimes called enthusiasm. It is called the great universal force that impels mankind to spring forward in a field of endeavor and accomplish the seemingly miraculous. That comes from Adam's smashing power. It is the intensity, order, enthusiasm, the inward fire of the soul that urges mankind onward, regardless of the intellectual mind of caution and conservatism. That's from the revealing word. Caution, do not let your zeal run away with your judgment. When zeal and judgment work together, great things can be accomplished. That's the revealing word as well. So today's affirmation of the 12 powers is, I claim power of zeal now. I am passionate and enthusiastic about divine ideas. Join me now as we enter into our gratitude practice, which I encourage you to become part of your daily spiritual practices. I invite you to take a centering breath and go into your heart space and just feel that feeling of gratitude, of having something, so many things in your life that we all have, that we are blessed to have. So listen to these words. I bless the world by sharing my gratitude. Whenever I am the recipient of a gift, a kind gesture, or a warm thought from another, I feel grateful. I want to express that gratitude, so I allow feelings of appreciation to well up in my heart. I radiate thanksgiving, and not only to those who have blessed me with kindness, but in fact to all of humanity. My grateful heart inspires me to give in return. As naturally as a flower shares its beauty and fragrance, I share my gratitude through loving acts of kindness and compassion. As I express deep gratitude by sharing my feelings of appreciation, I add to the good in the world. Every day, in every way, I am grateful.
So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
As we start this time of inner reflection, let's begin by getting comfortable. Remove all objects from your lap, place your feet on the floor, and sit up comfortably in your chair. Relax the muscles in your face, shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Feel your hips, legs, feet, and toes relax as well. Release any areas of tension you feel in your body. Take a deep, centering breath. Slowly inhale, gently hold for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale. Repeat a few times. Focus on your inhalation and exhalation as you continue to relax your body. Gently breathe in and out. Just relax and breathe naturally. You now feel the increased sense of relaxation to your body with every breath. Feel calmness and peace wash over you. Now let's center our attention to the daily word for today, which is faith. Our Bible verse is from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, and reads, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Today's affirmation is, "With the assurance of faith, I move ahead with confidence." Let's say that together one time, please. With the assurance of faith, I move ahead with confidence. Our message reads, "Faith is my guiding light. It keeps me hopeful when I'm tempted to doubt and cheerful when I otherwise feel gloomy. Faith tells me that even when the sky appears cloudy, the sun is still shining brightly above the clouds. Faith gives me a secure footing in the present as I plan for the future. Faith is the assurance that I am never alone, that everything I dream and do is divinely inspired. Every step I take in the direction of my aspirations is fueled by faith. All of the wisdom, power, love, and strength of God are mine to express as only I can. Leaving timidity and hesitancy behind, I use these divine attributes boldly and with confidence. Faith shows me the way forward. Now let's close our eyes and take these words and this affirmation into the silence.
the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home.
This morning, I will begin a series of talks on the Four Agreements. The talks are based on a book by Don Miguel Ruiz. In the words of the book, the Four Agreements reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. Source of self-limiting beliefs. It is based on ancient Toltec wisdom. The Four Agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. The book begins with some information about the Toltec, who they were and how these agreements came to be. We are told that thousands of years ago, the Toltec were known throughout southern Mexico as women and men of knowledge. Anthropologists have spoken of the Toltec as a nation or a race, but in fact, the Toltec were scientists and artists who formed a society to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and practices of the ancient ones. The book follows the intro with an intro called The Smoky Mirror, and it tells of a man who was studying to become a medicine man, but he didn't agree with everything that he was learning. One night as he slept, he dreamed that he saw his own body sleeping. He awoke in the middle of the night and stepped outside of his cave. He stared at the millions of stars in the sky, and at that moment, he had a realization that transformed him. He came to the awareness that he, like the stars, was made of light. And in fact, everything was made of light. He understood that everything that exists is one being, and that light is the messenger of that one being. He saw everything as God. He realized that the real us is pure love and pure light. He saw himself in everything, and that everything was but one infinite manifestation of this one being, which I would change to one essence. In those few moments, he comprehended everything. He wanted to tell everyone, but nobody understood him. He no longer had judgment about anything. He realized that he and everyone was God. Chapter 1 then follows and is titled Domestication and Dream of the Planet. The proposition is that everything we are seeing and hearing right now is nothing but a dream, like Edgar Allan Poe said. Now, I've noted before that I don't particularly care for the word dream to describe this experience for the simple reason that it brings up from the subconsciousness the idea that somehow it's not real. And my take on this whole concept is that if there is only one thing, one presence, and one power, then there is no such thing as something that is not real. From my perspective, and in using a new terminology, I'd use a different way of expressing it. I say it's a virtual reality that we've created and set the rules of the game to. That's a different way of looking at it. In effect, that is what the chapter says, though. It doesn't use the word race consciousness, but it uses the same idea in which the race consciousness is something that we have accepted as agreements for this life. Every letter, every word in our language, he says, is an agreement. He says that we accept what we've been told, handed down without choice, and that we do not have choice. He says we never had the opportunity to choose what to believe or what not to believe. Not even our names, he adds. Once again, I would disagree with that particular statement, but I would add to that, so long as we continue to ask questions or seek a higher consciousness, we're moving on from that. In other words, as Socrates said, examine your life, the unexamined life. Anyway, he calls this whole process the domestication of humans. Now, by necessity, we do have agreements, and he doesn't talk about that do serve our greater good. For example, we all agree to stop at red lights and go on green lights. If we didn't have those kind of agreements, well, things would be quite chaotic. But in the end, he says we have thousands of agreements that we have. But the worst is the one we make with ourselves. He says that if we want to have a life of joy and fulfillment, we have to find the courage to break the agreements we have made with ourselves. Good. I just broke some right now. So what kind of agreements is he talking about? What he's talking about is what we in Unity would refer to as false and limiting beliefs. Here's the final note on this chapter. Every time you break an agreement, all the power you use to create it returns to you. That's an interesting thought. Here the author changes the focus to adopting the 4 agreements we are about to examine. He writes, if you adopt these 4 agreements, we will then create enough personal power to change the entire system of the old agreements. He notes that it takes a very strong will to do this, but that the changes in our lives will be transformative. The drama and the hell in your life, he says, will disappear, and you will be able to create your own heaven on earth. So let's look into these agreements. Number 1, be impeccable with your words. We in Unity should be very familiar with this concept. We know about the power of words, and that is the emphasis of this one agreement. Why? Because the word does have power. It has power to create. And in fact, the Gospel of John begins with this very well-known passage. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The old Hebrew scripture starts with the same reference to this universe being spoken into existence by God. Chapter 1 of the book begins by saying, the first agreement is the most important one, and also the most difficult to honor. So it is important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth, he states. Now that's a really big statement. So let's take a look at that. It sounds very simple, but it's very, very powerful, we are told. So the question is, why your word? Simply put, because it is a gift from Spirit we have that has the power to create. It is through the word that we manifest everything in our lives. The word is the most powerful tool we have as humans. That's what the book says. Let me repeat that. The word is the most powerful tool we have as humans. The caveat is this: the word is a two-edged sword. It can create the most beautiful life for us, or it can destroy everything around us. The word is so powerful, in fact, that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. That's how powerful our words are. He cites the example of Hitler and how by his words alone, remember, this guy didn't do anything, he just talked. He was able to create mass destruction. He was able to convince others to commit atrocities of violence unimaginable, all through the power of his words. And his technique was simply say it over and over until they believe it. Of this he writes, Hitler's words were based on fear, and he generated beliefs and agreements that will be remembered for centuries. This is possible because the human mind is like a fertile field, and ideas, opinions, concepts are the seeds we plant there. And like seeds in rich soil, they will grow. Seeing the awesome power of the word, we must understand what power comes out of our mouths, it says. One word is like a spell, and humans use the word like black magicians, thoughtlessly putting spells on each other. Yeah, he uses this concept that we are able to put spells on people through the power of our words. These are very, very powerful ideas. He says every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on someone with our word, or we can release someone from a spell. A lot of the spells we live under go back to chapter 1 about the domestication of the planet. We accept certain ways of thinking simply because we were told it was this way, and we don't question it. We're under the spell of the race consciousness, I guess you could say. And he cites a couple of examples of perhaps being told something when you were young, such as, you'll never be good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're too fat, or you're too this or that. And that we accept that opinion because it comes from an authoritative figure, and thus we fall under its spell. That's how he puts it. As noted, a simple positive comment from someone can just as easily break that spell. Now here I'm reminded of what our traditional religious upbringing has told us about ourselves. Talk about being under a spell. We've been told that we are sinners by nature, that we are fundamentally flawed from our very inception, that we are unworthy of God's love. Apply these concepts that I was just sharing to these words, and wow, it is no wonder. So he says, why be impeccable with our words? What does that mean, he asks. Literally, it means without sin, sin pecado, from the Latin, or which turns into Spanish. But he says, but let's understand what that really means to sin. He says, a sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. You go against yourself when you judge or blame yourself or anything, about anything. Being impeccable then means not going against yourself. When you are impeccable, you do take responsibility for your actions, but you don't judge and blame yourself. You don't beat yourself up over what you've done. From this point of view, the whole concept of sin changes from something moral or religious to just something plain common sense. Being impeccable with your word means the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make an agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention, the truth will manifest through you and clean all the emotional poison that exists within you. That's what the book says. The author points out that in everyday human interactions, we are continuously casting spells on each other with our word. And he says gossiping is absolutely the worst of these spells. He compares it to a computer virus, and it spreads throughout the entire mechanism. He reminds us that people's opinions are just that, opinions, not necessarily the truth. When we adopt this first agreement, we not only rid ourselves of the emotional poison, we also create an immune system that protects us from other spells. So in closing, we need to remember that our word is the most powerful tool that we have, and that this tool has two sides. One can create beauty, joy, and fulfillment, and the other can create destruction, both of our lives as well as the lives of others. We also need to remember that breaking these spells returns the power we have given away. Remember, it's all about giving away stuff. Nobody takes it from you. Well, breaking these spells, we get our power back to us. So I'm going to remind you about being impeccable with your words is to always think before you speak, use your words wisely, and always be impeccable with your word. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. When you get a chance, get your booster. Let's see if we can get this thing going again. Now comes the time when we offer our gifts and our tithes to our spiritual community. And I want to thank you all for continually supporting this spiritual community that we call Unity RGV. So we take our tithes, our offerings, for now in our hearts, as we send them forth in whatever manner you choose to do, whether it be PayPal or Venmo or through a check or whatever it might be. And we say, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I want to thank you once again for joining us today at Unity RGV Sunday morning spiritual experience online. Let us conclude this service with a prayer of protection. You may join me if you wish. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Once again, have a blessed